Sounds good. Let's start the third week of your study. The theme for this week is A Legacy Beyond Ourselves, focusing on how God takes our good intentions and expands them into something eternal. Week 3, A Legacy Beyond Ourselves. Chapter 17, A House for God, a Kingdom Forever. This chapter contains one of the most important passages in the Old Testament, the Davidic Covenant. After successfully bringing the ark to Jerusalem, David is sitting in his beautiful cedar palace and feels it isn't right that he lives in a magnificent house while the ark of God remains in a tent. He decides he wants to build a permanent temple for God. However, God has an even bigger, more permanent plan in mind. A breakdown of the chapter. 1. David's good intention, verses 1 to 2. David expresses his desire to build a temple to the prophet Nathan. Nathan initially gives his blessing, saying, "Do all that is in thine heart, for God is with thee." It seems like a wonderful and godly plan. 2. God's surprising response, verses 3 to 15. That same night, God speaks to Nathan and gives him a message to deliver to David. The message is a surprising no, but it comes with an astounding yes, the no. God tells David that he has never asked for a house to dwell in and has been content with a tent. He then declares that David is not the one who will build him a house. The yes God then completely turns the tables. He says to David, "You want to build me a house? I'm going to build you a house." God is not talking about a physical building. He is talking about a dynasty and a legacy. God makes a series of incredible promises to David. He will make David's name great. He will give his people, Israel, a permanent, peaceful home. He will establish David's house, dynasty, forever. David's own son, Solomon, will be the one to build the physical temple. God will be a father to Solomon, and Solomon will be his son. Most importantly, he promises, "I will settle him in mine house and in my kingdom forever, and his throne shall be established forevermore." Version 14. 3. David's humble prayer, verses 16 to 27. David's response to this news is a model of humility and gratitude. He goes before the Lord and is completely overwhelmed. His prayer is filled with awe. "Who am I, O Lord God, and what is mine house that thou hast brought me hitherto?" He recognizes that this incredible promise is not something he earned, but is a gift of God's grace. He praises God for his uniqueness and for his faithfulness to Israel, and he ends by asking God to do just as he has promised. Connecting to our theme, a legacy beyond ourselves, this chapter is the ultimate example of our weekly theme. David wanted to build a legacy for God, a physical temple, but God's plan was to build a legacy through David that was far greater and more enduring than any building. David was thinking about stone and timber. God was thinking about an eternal kingdom. David was thinking about his lifetime. God was thinking about eternity. The legacy God promised David would extend far beyond himself, through his son Solomon, through the line of kings, and ultimately finding its perfect fulfillment in the Messiah, Jesus Christ, the Son of David, whose kingdom will never end. This is a perfect illustration of the prayer to enlarge my coast beyond what we can see or imagine. Reflection. Questions for your group. 1. God told David no about building the temple, but gave him a much better promise instead. Has there been a time when God said no to something you wanted, only to reveal a better plan later? 2. David's response to God's promise was overwhelming humility. When God blesses you, is your first response pride or humility? 3. David's legacy was ultimately fulfilled in Jesus. How does knowing that we are part of Jesus' eternal kingdom change our perspective on the temporary things we try to build in our own lives? Key takeaway for Chapter 17. When we sincerely offer our best to God, He often multiplies our intentions into a legacy far greater than we could ever have imagined.